Hello and welcome to today's vlog post. Today I'll be sharing with you the second in a wonderful series from an equally wonderful writer, Golden Angel. Those of you who know me will know that I have a particular fondness for this writer and all of the things that she writes, and those of you who know me well will know why that is. um, so her Deception and Discipline series focuses on four and a few more characters from her previous series. What's the plural of series? Series is? Seri? Anyway, that I have also narrated for Golden Angel. It focuses on four female friends, and I believe there are four books in the series, although only two have yet been written. Um, the first focused on Mary, and the second focuses on Josie. So this is a season for scandal. And I really love these books because it gives us an insight into characters that we got glimpses of in previous books. And they're really interesting characters. Golden Angel writes Regency romance slash erotica, but in a very realistic, um, it's glamorous in the right places and it's also believable. Uh, so yes, in that sort of manner. Anyway, so this is the this is the back information for A Season for Scandal, which is book 2 in Golden Angel's Deception and Discipline series. She always dreamed of marrying a Stuart brother, just not the one who meets her at the altar. When scandal sweeps through London's ballrooms, Lord Elijah Stuart's younger brother is caught in its web. Though his main duty is to England's spymaster, Elijah must forsake his work searching for the traitor to the crown and instead focus on weddings and reputations. With both the family honour and his brother's future at stake, Elijah dutifully takes the ruined Miss Josephina Pennyworth for his very reluctant bride. Furious at the circumstances leading her to be wed to the wrong Stuart brother, Josephina clashes immediately with her bossy new husband. She is every bit as invested in the search for the traitor as Lord Stuart, and she is no shrinking violet when it comes to danger. While Josie discovers certain aspects of married life are quite pleasurable, she doesn't permit them to distract her from her mission. As she tests her husband's patience and the boundaries of her new life, the threat lurking in the shadows grows larger and places more lives in peril. Who among them will survive? This book contains steamy scenes and the firm discipline of a sassy heroine when she requires it. I shall read to you the first couple of pages from the prologue. So if you're just joining us, well, that makes no sense that you would be because this isn't live. This is the prologue of Golden Angel's A Season for Scandal, book 2 in her Deception and Discipline series. Prologue. Josie. You need to be careful. Elijah is watching you. Evie's expression was serious, but Josie waved her off. The past few years, Josie had spent more time around Evie's cousins than she had. Their households were neighbours in the country, and Evie's eldest cousin, Elijah, had been the bane of her existence growing up. Even more so once Evie had joined her uncle's household and become her friend. Almost 10 years older than her and Evie, he was a veritable stuffed shirt and had spent his life disapproving of Josie's wild ways. He was also almost insufferably handsome, but Josie far preferred the middle Stuart brother, Joseph. She had been in love with him ever since she was old enough to know what love was. Elijah is so wrapped up in himself, he only notices I exist when I annoy him. Though to be fair, she did manage to do that on a fairly frequent basis. He'd never had much patience for Josie when she was a child, and had even less now that she was a young woman and a debutante. He thinks I am a ninny without a thought in my head for anything other than fashion and gossip, a perception she encouraged. She did enjoy both pastimes, but enjoying them did not make her a ninny. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. But enjoying them did not make her a ninny. Evie slanted her a look, the flash in her dark eyes the only sign of her annoyance. Even when she was dressed as a maid rather than a lady, she managed to intimidate with a mere look. Out of their steadfast group of 4 best friends, Josie and Evie clashed the most often, both strong-willed young ladies, but they also loved each other fiercely. When they were in agreement, their other two friends, Mary and Lily, almost always fell into line, but when they were not, the arguments could be spectacular. As they had grown older, both of them had learned to compromise more often, which had mellowed their relationship considerably. Shaking her head, Evie sighed. "He knows we have been trying to find the traitor." Evie's voice cut off, and they fell silent as footsteps approached the nook in the bookstore where they had met. Since their friend Mary had been kidnapped, uncovering one traitor to the crown, but not the mastermind behind a plot to assassinate the Duke of York, they had not been able to meet in Hyde Park as they once had. Elijah was the eldest son of England's spymaster, and a stodgy bore about proprieties. Like his father, he did not think spying to be an appropriate enterprise for a lady, which was why Evie was in hiding from them. She was determined to prove them wrong, and had enlisted Josie and their friends Mary and Lily to help her after the attempted assassination of the Duke of York. London was rife with intrigue at the best of times, but this season was proving to be especially fraught. With a delegation from France and another from Russia, as well as turncoats among the ton, it felt as though a dark force was gathering. Josie shivered. She rarely feared anything, but when Mary had been kidnapped a week ago, she had known true terror for the first time in her life. What had seemed like a lark was no longer so exciting. Thankfully, Evie had been able to rescue Mary, but it had been a stark reminder of the stakes at hand. Fear tingled up her spine as she and Evie waited for the footsteps to fade away. Whoever was walking through the store was moving on their way. Josie let out a sigh of relief, waving her hand in front of her face. The weather was becoming quite warm as the season drew to a close. Soon the ton would be vacating London and heading to their estates and house parties for the summer. Surely that would mean an end to the danger, she hoped. "You are the one he sees the most," Evie finished in a whisper, her eyes still alert, head tilted as though she was listening for any sign of nearby movement. "Because you told me to watch him, your uncle, and other cousins." A task that had not been a hardship at first, not until recently, when Joseph began courting Miss Priscilla Bliss. The ballrooms of London were already buzzing with anticipation of an engagement announcement. The very thought made Josie's stomach twist with jealousy and anger. She continued to visit Stuart House regularly, using their neighbouring estates in Derbyshire and the long friendship between their families as her excuse. They were used to her presence in the Stuart household, even though, following her rescue, Mary had revealed how much the other ladies had been involved in looking for the traitor to Evie's uncle. He did not look askance at Josie's visits. She had been very careful not to be caught eavesdropping, not that she had learned much of interest. Lord Camden and Elijah spent most of their time worrying over Evie's disappearance. As far as Josie could tell, Joseph and Adam, the youngest, were not involved in the family business and did not know Evie was not travelling as she was supposed to be. Elijah, on the other hand, seemed poised to eventually become his father's successor. "Considering how little you have learned from them, maybe we should focus your efforts in other directions," Evie said thoughtfully, her eye unfocused as she thought. Emotions assailed Josie. Self-recrimination. She didn't like feeling as though she had failed at a task. Relief. She would no longer have to listen to Joseph wax eloquent about the insipid Miss Bliss's charms. Unhappiness. She would no longer have a good excuse to torment herself with Joseph's company. A bit of indignation. Evie felt she had not learned much, despite the truth to the statement. I'm going to finish there. I could go on. Golden Angel tends to separate her chapters into one point of view and another point of view. So in this story, the chapters are divided between Joseph and Elijah. So that was just the first part of Josie and Elijah. That'll be a different book. So that was just the first part of Josie's point of view from the prologue. So that was the first few pages of Golden Angel's A Season for Scandal, which is book 2 in her Deception and Discipline series. And I'm hoping for another instalment at some point this year, but we shall see. Stranger things have happened. Thank you for listening to me. You can hear that whole book on Audible, Amazon and iTunes. You can see more of me at RebeccaMcKernan.com and on Twitter at Becca Tells Tales. And I look forward to speaking to you next time. Mwah.